Welcome to the Two Cripples, One Pair of Legs podcast, where every fortnight, your hosts, Adam Shepherd and Tash Price, take a long, hard look at the world through the eyes of two people who believe in grabbing life by the balls and squeezing tighter than Borat in a mankini. The good, the bad, the often cringeworthy, but most importantly, the hilarity that can, and often does, ensue. If you're looking for fluffy sunshine and rainbows, My Little Pony meets Care Bears type of purity, you've probably come to the wrong place. If you're after good conversation, warped humour, quick wit, a touch of sarcasm, two proud people with disabilities with the no holes barred, leave no stump unturned outlook on life, welcome home. Hi.
Hey, how you going?
I am well. How are you?
Yeah, I'm really, really good. We've had a busy but very, very good few weeks.
It has been. It's been insane.
It has. So today's show, we're actually going to, we're using inspiration from what has been our crazy few weeks. And we're going to be talking a lot about Noosa Ultra Trail.
Yes.
And just some of the, I guess, incredible experiences we've had. And it's going to kind of open your eyes on a few things, I think.
Yes, absolutely. It was a boatload of fun.
Yes.
Thank you to those guys, but we'll get into
we'll talk about that.
We'll talk
bit.
into that.
Yes, we
talk
will.
into that. Talk about that.
Into it. How does that work?
I think you can tell we haven't been in the studio for a little for a couple of weeks.
Tripping over our words.
I'm a little bit rusty, and I haven't even had a drink. Oh, actually, no, I did at lunch.
Oh, see, that's what it is. You got legless on the job again.
Yeah, you see, you've turned me into a day drinker.
I have. That's the problem, isn't it? Anyway.
Man.
Today, we have got an incredible guest with us.
I keep hearing about this person. I'm really excited.
I know. So, Mary Jane, how do you pronounce your surname? Leahy?
Leahy.
Leahy.
Yes.
Leahy. Because when I first met you, you were you that or were you Hornilla?
Hornilla.
Yeah.
So the Filipino or Spanish, Hornilia.
Yes.
The double L-A. And then because I was married to an Irishman, so it's Leahy.
Awesome.
Ah,
so
okay.
I've known Mary here for 10 years. 10 years? Yeah. So Mary was actually my nurse when I had a major relapse back in 2012 and became quadriplegic. And she got to care for me for that amount of time. But do you want to press press the button?
Oh, yeah. Oh, do I get to press the button?
You do. You get to press the button.
I like pressing buttons.
You push my buttons all the time, that's for sure.
The water cooler. Sorry.
So for you guys that are new to the show, the water cooler is our interview segment. It's inspired by people in the office talking at the water cooler, gossiping probably. We gossip.
It's our interview section.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
Where we get to know awesome people.
Exactly. I'm going to get to know Mary today. So MJ, as I know her, is a nurse, an entrepreneur, and is the current Mrs. Australia.
I do my Australia wave.
You've got that down pat. That's really cool.
And you didn't bring your sash and crown today.
I know, I'm so sorry.
That's okay.
I'm
That's okay.
devastated. I love wearing my crown.
Yeah, and as would I
if
I'd just won that. I would definitely want to be wearing it and showing it off to the world.
You know, sometimes I'll be doing the dishes and I'd be wearing my crown.
Hey,
that's awesome.
I love that. That's going to be like you with your new top hat, just sat there doing the dishes with it on.
It is. Well, let's face it, the top hat basically. So while we were on the Sunshine Coast, I bought myself a new top hat. I've wanted a top hat for a long time. I don't know why. I don't know what the appeal is, but it looked cool and it's all different colors and stuff. So I bought that. But
yes.
it basically doubles my height.
It does, and you need height.
I do. I'm a short ass.
Well, you're even shorter now without your legs.
I was going to say, now that I'm legless.
Yes. Yeah, you're about 3 inches tall.
Mm-hmm.
But that's okay. And your son keeps telling you that at 6 years old. He's like, Dad, I'm taller than you.
No shit.
I reckon he's still got about an inch or so to go.
Yeah, he does. So we had his just quickly, because I know I'm digressing, because that's what we do on this show. This is what we do. But we had his parent-teacher conference at school the other day, and so proud of him. He's just killing it. He's just doing awesome. I'm so proud of him. But we got in there And he started, in front of his teacher, started giving me shit about how short I am. And he's like, I'm nearly taller than you, Dad. So his teacher's like, haha, right, you two up against, they've got whiteboards now. No more blackboards, they're whiteboards. And he's like, let's see. And so I do still have him by like a couple of inches.
Good job.
Yeah.
Recorded.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah,
It's
absolutely.
official. It's
Yeah.
official. Your 6-year-old is only 2 inches off you.
I know. If I could stand on my stumps on the ground, he would.
He would be far taller than you.
Yeah, I'd be scared. I would be
Yes.
scared. Yeah. What were we going on? Sorry, I took us completely off track there.
Yeah, that's okay. We were going to start the interview.
Oh yeah, we were.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
It's probably a good idea. So Adam's got some questions for you. We'll just get into it, and I think we'll have some fun.
Yay.
Yeah,
Let's go.
awesome. So, you're originally from the Philippines?
Yes.
Yes.
I came to Australia in 1996.
1996. Okay.
Awesome.
Shows how old I am. And I went to Kogra High School in
Okay.
Sydney.
Uh-huh.
Okay, awesome.
Yes, and then after that I studied business in Macquarie University. But I did that as a part-time student working full-time. It took too long, so by the time I graduated, I took a year off. I backpacked in South America.
Oh,
That's
wow.
cool.
That's
I
awesome.
went, I think I was there for about 5 or 6 months. I went to Ecuador, Peru, Bolivia,
Yeah.
Brazil, Argentina, and then Chile.
Mhm.
And while we were there, did the Amazon jungle, climbed
Wow.
Machu Picchu for 4 days.
Amazing.
I'm so jealous. That is
me too.
like my dream
Mine too.
bucket
trip.
Yeah.
I don't know how accessible.
I know,
Um,
right? Don't reckon it'd be too much.
Yeah.
I was called a princess because all the backpackers were really tough and they were carrying all their bags. And there I am hiring a porter to carry them.
Hey, you gotta do what you gotta do.
It's $20 a day. I was dying of altitude sickness.
Oh,
I was
yeah, I
like,
bet.
it's gonna feed their whole family for like a month.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's 4 days of like, and it's continuous walking. It's 10 hours a day of walking.
That's
That's-
full on.
it's
I would
huge.
really
It is.
suck at walking
Yeah,
10 hours
yeah.
a day.
Oh, you'd suck at walking 10 seconds a day.
I'd be really shit at that.
Yes,
Well, look,
not our thing.
There is the train, so
Yeah.
you don't have to do the trek, but
Yeah.
there is the train that
Okay.
takes you in there and then takes you back at the end of the day. So there's
Awesome.
yeah.
Oh, that's good.
But this is back when when you're in your 20s, you've got no
Yes.
fear.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
just keep going. We did the Amazon jungle, saw piranhas, pink dolphin. I didn't know exists.
Oh, they're beautiful.
And 6-meter anacondas.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
That's
They
cool.
were amazing.
That is so cool.
Yeah, I love all the countries. Yeah,
Yeah.
Bolivia is amazing. Brazil, did the whole Rio and Carnival. Argentina, did
Yeah.
the whole backpackers thing. Stayed in a backpackers double decker while
Yes.
someone's doing it on top.
Yes.
holding
I've had a
shaking
few of those experiences in my backpacking days as well, and you're just sat there going, "Oh, what the hell?"
And this is the clincher. Wherever we go, people think I'm South American.
Yes.
So people will be like, because in a backpacker over there, you're not allowed to let in the locals.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because they're very conservative and like
okay.
foreign people. think that's-
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
So I'm always getting looked like, is she foreign? Where is she from here? So yeah, I have to always bring my passport.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
This is not a question we had, but out of those places you visited, what was your favorite experience?
Machu Picchu, definitely.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's just something surreal about being exhausted walking for 10 days.
Yeah.
And then at the end of it, seeing and this is the thing was I actually did this on New Year. So January 1, I remember we were on the top.
Yeah.
Yeah, and because they put a cap on how many people can visit because it's already starting to have landslide and affect
Yeah.
so that was one of the highlights. Another one was being robbed in Brazil.
Oh, a highlight or a low light?
Yes.
Why have I've heard this Brazil.
Brazil it happens a lot in Brazil. hey?
I've heard that before. Yeah. Yes.
You really got to
And
have
it's
all your
my
wits
fault,
about you.
to be honest. Because this is before iPhones and
Yeah.
all
Yeah.
that, you know, when the internet was still the old ding, ding.
Mhm.
And
Yep.
you carry a Lonely Planet book.
Yes,
That's as
and,
thick as
and
a
make
Bible.
yourself very obviously
Yes,
a tourist.
yes.
Tourist
Yeah.
right here.
Yeah, yeah.
And it said on the Lonely Planet, if you go outside the circle, you will definitely get robbed, and it's your fault.
That's awesome.
what I
That's what happened.
That's brilliant.
So, do you speak any of the South American languages, Portuguese or Spanish or
I
anything?
do Spanish. A lot of Filipino words are
Yes,
similar.
yeah.
'Cause-
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I did do a certificate too at TAFE
Oh, okay.
of Spanish.
Yeah,
For
awesome.
6 months.
So that helped you along the way, because I know in certain parts of South America the English isn't great, so there's always good to have that that
Yes.
background. Yeah, fair
So
enough.
all the mothers are always trying to marry me after thinking that I'm
Fair enough. Awesome.
So what was the catalyst for you coming to Australia originally?
So we had family here that have come. Oh God, we've had a family that came here after the war.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because they were in the American base. A bit of history. The Philippines were under the Americans before World War II came, and then afterwards, some of their base went to Australia, and then we had like my grandmother's sisters and their family immigrated in the late 50s and early
okay.
60s.
Yeah. Wow.
And then my mom's a registered nurse as well, so she had this opportunity to come, and we said, "Oh, it'll be an amazing, life for us to come. So much opportunity."
Yeah.
I'm so grateful to be here. I was saying, because I'm doing that wakeboarding and kite surfing
Yeah.
lesson, and my instructors, because I face planted like 10 times yesterday. My instructor's like, you've fallen off quite a bit. Like, are you gonna give up now? I'm like, look. Falling off is not a problem. Not having the money to do this and the
Yeah.
opportunity to do this, like
That
growing
was-
up in the Philippines, that's a problem.
Yes,
That's the
it's
problem.
So
Yeah.
true.
Yeah, falling off is not a problem.
Yeah.
It's never a problem.
Yeah, I agree.
And
I agree.
failing.
Yeah, exactly. No, I love that.
So you met young Natasha here through your nursing career. How much of a pain in the ass was she?
Oh, she's cute.
Oh, thank
Yeah.
you.
No, do you know I was pregnant at the time?
Yes,
And
yes.
Natasha named my baby. And do you know
Oh,
what she called
really?
my baby?
What's your name, your baby?
Ask her.
Do you
You
know
remember?
what? No,
You
no.
called my baby Peanut.
Peanut.
Ah, see?
Peanut.
Peanut. Yeah, that's right. Peanut.
Peanut.
Oh my God. Yeah. That's so like I said, we've known each other for 10 years, and I always remember how much you helped me during what was a really bloody tough period of time.
We were
Obviously I
going
was
through, yeah.
in rehab, couldn't see, couldn't move, and the things were tough, and it's always wonderful to catch up afterwards with people who have done so much to make a big difference in your life. I think it's incredible, and I love the fact that we've been able to keep in touch.
Natasha, you're an inspiration to me.
Oh, thank
Because
you.
I remember this woman and thinking, because we're sort of similar age.
Yes, yeah.
Sort of
I was
similar age.
No, I was saying that to Adam earlier. I think we're pretty much the same
Yeah.
age. So yeah.
And the tenacity of this woman, you, and just the inspiration,
Thank you.
like you give me goosebumps. She does. And that's what I would say. Like falling, failing, it's not
Yeah.
the same.
Yeah,
Same,
and there's
you know,
and really
it's not.
there's
yeah.
no such thing as falling or failing. It's
Yeah.
it's a learning experience,
Exactly.
and you use those
Yeah.
experiences to push you forward and help you change your life. But the reason we do everything we do, and my why and my passion and my purpose comes from the shit I've been through, and wanting other people to not feel so, I guess, alone, and know where to turn when shit gets real. So and help people to be build a resilient mindset and find happiness in their life even when they're going through shit. And it's a shame because I don't think that many people have the ability to see the positive in the negative they're going through. So yeah, that's
What's great about Tash is that she's able to accept it, and the great thing about it is we can be vulnerable but still be strong.
yeah, exactly.
And vulnerability doesn't mean weakness. It
Yep.
just means you're accepting how it is that day, and it's fine.
Yep.
I teach my kids every day. At the end of the day, they go, "What did you learn today?" No, I go, "What did you fail on today? What did you make a mistake on? Did you learn something? Did you
Yep.
fix it? Or if you couldn't fix it, how did you move on?
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I love
that's
that
fantastic.
because as a parent, I pick Fletch up from school at the end of the day, and it's like, "How's your day? Good. What'd you do? I don't know. I don't remember. What'd you learn? I don't know."
Nothing.
And somebody actually said to me, I think it was one of our other guests actually said to me, they asked their child, "What did you learn? What questions did you ask today?" And I thought, "Oh, that's a good one too." Yeah, really like that. So you're involved in a lot of fundraising and pageants for
Mrs. Globe.
Open Haven.
Yeah.
So what was the catalyst in getting involved in what started you getting involved in that sort of thing?
So Open Haven is a charity that provide post-crisis support to people who are survivors, called survivors of domestic violence. So they provide services like they give free driving lessons, because when you are able to drive, you can be independent, you can be employable, you know, you could just go.
100%.
Yeah. We also provide legal aid, housing support, and even like sometimes if a person has to go to court, the social worker would actually come to the person's house and take over from like 6 o'clock or 7 o'clock, you know, make the kids breakfast, take them to school, pick them up, so that that person doesn't have to worry about those things.
That's awesome.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And this organization, so statistically it takes a person 7 tries before they can leave a violent relationship.
Wow.
Yeah.
But if Open Haven gets involved the first time, they never go
They
back.
never go back, and
Yeah.
they don't have to subject
That's
themselves
amazing.
to that anymore.
And they've,
That's awesome.
and they've got 100% strike rate. Like,
Yeah.
because we do like, try to.
It's a
help as
holistic
much as-
approach.
Yes,
and
exactly. It's not like, and unfortunately at the moment, with the funding, a lot of the government funding, which is a lot, the government's released a lot, is so there's pre-crisis, which is awareness, education, in crisis, which is while it's happening,
Yeah.
and then post-crisis. And most of the funding is in crisis.
Yeah.
And post-crisis, there's very, very small. And that's
It's
why
just
we
a
have to
shame.
do-
You've got
Yeah.
to continue supporting
Yes.
people, because without that support,
They go back.
exactly, you end up going
So
back.
sorry, going back.
Yeah,
to
no, that's okay.
Going back to the question, I basically got involved with them because of I have this business in Victoria, and at the time I had a few clients that were needing domestic violence support, and they were able to help us, even though they're Open Haven is a Queensland based charity.
Yeah.
Yep.
They were able to connect us there, and because
Awesome.
I'm here Queensland, I said, when I come back, domestic violence is a very, very hard issue to
Yes.
understand.
Yes.
And at the time, I was actually donating. So I own an accommodation for people with disability, people with mental health problems, and a little bit of aged care, but more on the low care side.
Okay.
And I have a few rooms that I dedicate for respite, and I actually have one room that I dedicated for people for free for domestic violence, because it takes because example, somebody gets beaten up by their partner, so they go in a hospital, and then they need to have accommodation.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
it takes a long time to get accommodation with
does.
public,
With
public
public
housing.
housing.
Yeah. So I would say, okay, they can live here for 2 weeks, 3 weeks for free while they're getting
Whilst
that
they're
shit sorted
waiting.
out.
Yeah.
But it's so frustrating, because the second they're there, guess what? The partner's there waiting for them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the
I
problem.
couldn't
isn't
do
it?
anything about it, because it's just that coercive control.
Yes.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, the guy's here, he loves me, he said sorry, I'm
Yes.
going. And I couldn't do anything. Like, we'd call the police, we'd call the social worker, like, you can't.
Yeah. There's nothing you
So
can do.
I
in
was
that
really
situation.
frustrated.
Yeah.
And I said to Jane D, she's one of the ambassadors as well, and she's a good friend of mine. And she said, well, you can help this way.
Yeah.
Because they know, they're trained. Like I it's like trying to help, but I was facing a wall that I didn't know
Yeah.
how to navigate. And I said, okay, that was futile what I was doing there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
But this actually this makes a difference.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's fantastic.
That-
There's so many different nuances and different levels and different layers to DV and the way it affects people. And so many people go, well, why didn't you just leave? But it's not that simple. It really isn't. There even there's all often people you've married this person, or you've been with this person as a long-term partner, you live together, and you've invested your financial health, your mental health, your physical health into that relationship. It's not that easy just to walk away. If you've got children involved, there's so many different layers,
So
and
complex.
to just go to someone, just leave. Yeah, you need to kind of have a think about how the realities of that, because in reality, going from a stable home environment, whether it's violent or not, just knowing that you have the security of your own home, and putting yourself and your family into a situation where you no longer have that security, that's a big ask. And for a lot of people, they don't have the support networks or the financial ability to be able to do that. So
It's very complex.
So for those people listening and watching on the live, what can we do to support what you're doing?
Okay, so you can go to the website. It's openhaven.org.au, and you can be a donor. It's like 1 cup of coffee a day. It's that $30 a month.
Yes.
So you can be what we call angels.
Awesome.
So you can donate that way,
That's
or you
awesome.
could also join we're doing a fundraising on the 26th of March at the Edgewater at Via Roma.
Oh, that's lovely
nice.
there. We've eaten there before, haven't we?
Yeah, we have, yeah.
Very nice.
Very fancy.
Yeah.
Very fancy. So come give us your money. So we'll do
Awesome.
raffles, and we'll do some auctions as well, and we'll have some amazing people who will do talks.
Okay.
We're actually doing a gala at the end of the year as well, and Nina Schreiner, the mayor for Brisbane, is our patron and one of the spokesperson
Awesome.
for our organization.
Oh, awesome. Yeah.
Yes, so she won't be coming this
Not
one
to
because
this
this
one.
is Gold Coast.
So what
but
date
she
was
will
that?
be-
May 20.
So this one's the May 26th.
26th.
At
Okay.
10 o'clock for a high tea.
Awesome. And how can people get tickets for that?
So just go to Eventbrite
Yes.
and
Okay.
search Open Haven.
Okay, cool.
Excellent,
Awesome.
excellent, excellent.
I wanted to ask you a little bit about getting into the whole Mrs. Globe, Mrs. Australia thing. How did that come about?
Okay. Well, as I said before, I'm an oversharer. So,
Tell us.
okay. Hopefully the ex won't be listening to this. A few years ago during COVID in 2020, found out he was having an affair and devastated me. Anyway, 2 years later down the road, a friend of mine has done some pageants and suggested, why don't you join this? And I've got nothing to lose.
Yep.
And I wanted to stick it to
Yeah, fair enough.
absolutely.
Hey, that's as good a reason as any. I love it. Look what
just
you're
going,
missing
"Look what
out
you-
on. Love it.
And we're in my 40s, and I've got nothing to lose, and I've got so much to gain, experience, something new, something different. I've never been in this sphere before.
Yeah.
So I thought,
Awesome.
I never joined it to think I was gonna win. I just joined it to think I want to learn something. I want to experience something new.
Yeah.
I want to share what I've got, and I also just wanted to explore this very different, very glamorous,
Yes.
very up until I joined this pageant, didn't know how to do makeup. I didn't know how. I'm wearing
Yeah, I
So
know.
I was just
Like
like-
10-inch heels. I love them. I love them. They are huge. Love them.
No, they wouldn't do much for
They
you.
wouldn't do much for my height. They're that tall that I reckon I'd probably get them dragging on the floor. They're great.
But they're for aesthetic looks.
Yeah.
But even walking, there were a lot of things that growing up wasn't in our household considered important. They
Mm-hmm.
were considered something, aesthetic. You know, it's more important to study, work,
Yes.
get your responsibility and priorities right. And I just thought, I've got everything else settled. My kids are fine. My business is okay. It's time to do something for myself. And that's what
I love it.
with pageantry, especially with the misses, it's that one thing. It sounds a little bit selfish, but it's self-care that you do for yourself.
Yeah, and I'm sure it helps with self-esteem and confidence and stuff as well, especially after you've been through a relationship breakdown. So yeah, I think that's really important. Yeah,
You say it's about looking after yourself, but the way you do things, it's also shining a light on all the amazing work that you do for what all the fundraising and whatnot that you do.
Yeah. So with Mrs. Globe, and this is another reason why I wasn't that scared to join, because if you win with beauty pageant, it's about beauty. Well, you can't be that. Sorry. You can't be that ugly. Well, you're rated anyway, so I can say things like that. You still have to be quite presentable. But you need, because when you win, you become a spokesperson for women in empowerment. So it's a charity in America, because this is America based.
Sure.
So you become a spokesperson for them. So the person who will win still needs to be able to speak, still need to be a bit articulate, need to know what's happening in life. And especially because it's women in empowerment. So I think that's why they gave me the crown.
Oh, no, fantastic. And
That's awesome.
I had a question and it's just flat gone out of my brain, because that's what happens.
That's what happens
It
sometimes.
is. My brain just dies. That'll be the concussion.
That's all right.
There's a nurse in the house.
There is a nurse, which is helpful.
What day it is, what time,
Hey,
where are you?
No idea at this point.
What's your GCS score?
Exactly.
But even like a door or a table would still score a 4.
Oh, right.
Yes.
Yeah, okay, that's interesting.
When I go on holiday, and I went to in Vietnam, in Ha Long Bay, and somebody fell over, and they were like, "Is there a nurse or a nurse?" I'm like, "Yeah, no,
Not me.
I did not come on holidays to deal with this shit.
Yeah, I've just left that shit behind.
This is why I went on holidays, so somebody else can deal with it. No, I think
they have first aid people there, so let the professionals do their job.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
I'm sure you would have jumped in had it needed, but
Yeah, no, because it's funny, because the person, so someone was asking this person, like as I said, what time is it? This person was just quiet, and so I'm actually listening, going, oh shit, like maybe she did have congestion, and then the tour guide goes, oh no, she's German, she can't speak English. So I'm like, oh shit.
Okay, well that's okay then. That's less of a worry.
that explains it then. That's okay.
Because I was kind of a bit, why isn't she answering those questions?
So there's a really big difference between what you're doing with the pageant stuff and your entrepreneurship as well. So you have business, you do NDIS stuff, disability accommodation.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So do you want to tell us a little bit more about that?
So yes, so we. I have this facility in Victoria, in Lilydale. So
awesome.
Some people said that I think you had ulterior motive because it's in the Yarra Ranges where all the wineries.
That makes sense. See, that makes sense.
That makes perfect sense to me.
It's next to Coldstream where Shandon.
Oh,
Look at all your eyes
Yeah.
lighting up.
I reckon we should find a way of basing our office there, actually.
Yeah, I think so.
It's like a 5-minute drive up the road.
Perfect.
So yes, so sometimes I have at lunchtime when I'm day off. So I had this opportunity to buy. It was already an existing business, but because I had a background in business and nursing, so I was quite I'd say fearless. Because somebody said to me, aren't you scared of opening a business? I was already 36 at the time. I had 2 kids. And I said no. Because when you're doing something, and it's the same with both of you, when you're doing something and you're gambling on yourself, it is the safest bet you can ever do in your
100%.
life.
100%. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Because you know yourself, you know your strength, your weaknesses,
you know what your abilities
bullshit.
are.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I always say the worst gamble is getting a partner.
Hey, that's probably true.
Yeah. But the safest bet is on yourself. And at the time, I thought, I've got this. Well, you need to have some sort of belief in yourself too when you do business, or in your guys' case, you're an athlete, so you need to have that belief, because otherwise you're going to be facing a lot of
Exactly.
challenges. And if you
Exactly.
don't have that,
Mindset's everything. Mindset is, certainly with regards to either
You-
the athletics or the or the business side of things.
Yeah.
If everything you do has to come from a belief deep inside that you can make it work,
exactly.
and then you figure the rest of the stuff out along the way.
Exactly.
Yeah,
100%. You know, it's about the passion for it and you know, and the belief that you can do it.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, I'm not going to wake up and go, I might be a brain surgeon today. My hands,
I mean, you could try, but I don't think you'd get too
my
far.
hands shake too much, and nobody wants.
And the fact that you don't have qualifications probably might be a
Yeah,
little
that-
bit of
that
an
might
issue
be-
at this point.
Might be. I might need to go back to school for a few more
Yeah,
decades.
A few more decades, yeah, exactly.
Okay, last question. What advice would you give 10-year-old MJ?
Oh gosh, 10-year-old MJ. Don't be scared to fail.
Love it.
that.
That's
it.
awesome. Yeah.
Failure is part of life. Falling down is part of life.
Mm-hmm.
Just keep going, one foot in front of the other. Have a day you cry, you feel shitty about yourself, you watch Netflix all day, you eat a bag of popcorn.
Yeah, sounds like a good day to
Yes.
me.
But then the next day, just keep going.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think when I have, whether it's business life, anything, I think the thing that scares me the most is the fear of not knowing.
Yeah.
Because if I don't know what's going to happen in the future, I'm going to try to, make up all these scenarios. And that's what's scary, because you don't know what's happening.
No.
But you know what?
Yeah.
Once you already know what it is and you figured it out, even if it's hard, you can still make it.
Exactly.
So that's my advice. Don't
love
be
it.
scared. Just go. Give it a go.
It's do you know what? Often it's the fear of doing something that is the biggest issue, and so many things you're fearful of actually don't end up happening. So, and you never know what you're truly capable of until you just give things a try. And if it doesn't work out, who cares? It's a learning experience, and you
Exactly.
always learn from mistakes or failures.
I think as humans, we can be over analytical and sit there and go, think of all the what ifs and talk ourselves out of things so easily, and it's trying to reverse that and go, you know what, I've got this, I can do this. Yeah.
We have one life.
Yeah, absolutely.
And if we don't maximize, as we don't try to reach our full potential,
Yes.
when we get old, what's gonna happen? Especially with what happened with COVID.
Yes.
It's like,
Yeah.
it sucked.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right?
Exactly.
And
yeah.
now that we're out, we're free. Let's go. Let's do this. Let's do things that we've never done before. Let's
Yeah.
experience things that we didn't think we could. Because what do we have to lose?
Exactly. And life's for living. And, it
Say-
really is.
Say yes more.
Yes. Yes,
What
I'm
I said.
saying yes,
You're
yes,
saying
yes,
yes.
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 Lots of yeses.
Yes.
I have one last question.
Okay.
What does inclusion mean to you?
Inclusion. Okay, that's like that question with what is feminism for me.
Yeah, it is. It's a similar
Yes.
thing. But
So
yeah.
inclusion for me is just being being given the chance to participate.
Yep.
Love it.
Awesome.
Yeah, perfect. And that's great. That's exactly what it is. We ask this of all of our guests because we're just always interested to know how the way that they see the world, the way that they see things, because the reason we do everything we do is to try and educate and raise awareness and show everybody that people with disabilities just want the same opportunities in life as everybody else. So yeah, I love it.
Mhm.
Perfect.
Awesome.
I think that's it.
That's a wrap.
I
gosh.
believe that is the interview segment done for today. Thank you for joining us.
For having me.
And it was great to
It's
actually
so
see
nice
you
to
after
see
so
you
long.
too,
I know, right? It's
know.
crazy.
We need to catch up. Maybe we should do a round 2 of this at some point, and we can catch up. That would be really cool.
We'll go out and have dinner or something sometime as well.
Yes, I'll bring some Shandon.
Karaoke.
Perfect.
From
Love it.
Yarra Valley.
Yeah,
That's
and
what it is,
karaoke.
karaoke.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
Oh,
Yes. Yeah. Filipino style karaoke.
I love that.
love it.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you for joining us. We will we'll be back to you guys on Facebook in a minute. We're just going to have a quick 30-second break to say goodbye to MJ, and then we'll be back live with you. Wasn't that fun? It was so nice to see MJ after so long.
And you know what the best part? She's like, let's go wakeboarding. I
Yeah.
am so down for
I
that.
know, right? Me too. We've been
Yeah.
talking about doing this for ages. So kneeboarding, wakeboarding, let's do it.
I have been wakeboarding before.
Oh, really? You haven't told me about this.
a long time ago.
Uh-huh.
And it was so much fun.
Yeah, it's going to be different for you now, though. You have no knees, so...
Yeah, so it wouldn't be knee boarding.
No,
will it?
it'll be...
Stump boarding.
Stump boarding. That sounds like some kind of weird thing that,
Oh, man. All right, should we get into the next?
Yes, let's do it.
Excellent. Like two cripples using a beach towel to skydive, this could go anywhere. Welcome to the soapbox session. I know I say this probably every time we record, but that's probably my favourite one.
So you love what you wrote, pretty much.
Pretty much, yeah.
Could your head get any bigger?
Genius.
Yeah, it is fucking genius.
Yeah, I'm just proud because I don't come up with that sort of awesome stuff too often. And even I think it's awesome.
No, it is awesome. So in today's segments, we're talking everything Noosa based and some of the experiences we had. And overall, we had a fantastic trip. So
it was awesome.
Yeah, so for anyone that doesn't know, we've been all splashed all over media the last kind of week. On Channel 7, we were on Sunrise, and all the local media outlets. We've done interviews on ABC, and just it's been crazy because we were actually the first wheelchair users worldwide to take part in a competitive trail running event.
Yes.
In our day chairs, no less.
Mine was half a day chair because
it kind of fell apart as we were going along.
Every kilometre something fell off.
So originally it was the 15-kilometre course that was actually modified to a 5K circuit. 10K circuit. Yes, don't half
don't
it.
Short changes.
I know,
Jesus.
right? Short changes. Well, I am with you. Short ass.
Just call me short change from now on.
No, I prefer Subway sandwich.
Yeah, I kind of like that one.
But yeah, so we took part in this event. I had an absolutely freaking amazing time. But what we wanted to talk about for this soapbox session is some of the accessibility issues. So first day we're there, we've gone to check in at the event, and I've got to say that the Noosa Ultra Trail itself, the event was run brilliantly.
Really well done.
Thank you, Nick, for inviting us and for all the hard work you did with that, and it was really well thought out. However, some of the things that he wouldn't have realised, because of course he's not a wheelchair user, came to light for us.
Yeah.
So on the first day, you've gone and used the disabled Portaloo there.
That was awesome, and I'll be honest, this was a little bit mean, having a bit of a man look, as my wife would call it. But I went to picture an oversized Portaloo that you could wheel into, do what you got to do, and then I looked down to wash my hands, and there's no tap, nothing and there's a sign that says push foot pump to run tap, or something to that effect. I'm like,
what the hell? Like, it's a toilet for accessibility and wheelchair users, and yet you are expected to use your feet to operate the tap.
And look, I
faucet.
I absolutely get that there are people in this world that have disabilities that are capable of using their feet.
But there's also a lot that don't.
But this was a larger size for and it had a ramp, so people with wheelchairs and other mobility devices could get into it. Yes. What you pointed out to me, because you are ever so slightly taller than I am, was there was a hand thing that you could pump the water through the thing.
Yeah. So, but I've got to say about that though, which is interesting. Yes, there was like this weird little tap that was up really high on the wall that you had to pump, but when you did it, like, the tiniest amount of water came out, and then it splashed everywhere, all over you.
Yeah.
It didn't go anywhere near the sink. It just went all over you. Yeah. And it's like, well, I'm not quite sure how you're supposed to actually use that to wash your hands, because, being in a seated position, it was very hard to reach anyway. So your hands are like halfway up above your head and kind of facing in a weird position. So the actual ability to wash your hands with it was almost impossible.
Yeah, and you know what I was discovering then? Like, I don't know about anybody else, and I've been washing my own hands for, probably close to 40 years. And
well, let's hope so.
so, I don't claim to be an expert, but
Well, an expert in washing your hands.
I put water on my hands, I get soap, then I rub my hands together. The way this was set up was that you had to have one hand pushing the thing and one hand pumping the water through, and then one hand on under the tap to get your hands wet. Then you'd swap it over, and it was like I was doing a dance.
Strange dance you're doing
it
there.
was like I don't know.
You'd been a bit of a mariachi dancer.
Exactly.
I can see it.
I knew you'd get where I was coming from.
Hey.
Yeah, something like that. But so that was interesting. So I love the fact that there was an accessible toilet there, because the toilet, there was toilets within the building there, but not accessible ones. So, and granted, the building is very, very old. Very old there. But I was very appreciative because, I was drinking a boatload of water, trying to stay well hydrated.
Because it was like 6 million degrees.
It would have been a bit of an issue if we'd come off that 10K course and I needed to go to the toilet. I couldn't.
Well, I think it'd be a bit of an issue if we'd actually not had a toilet at the start line, because I don't know about you, I was pretty desperate, and then the thought of going for 2+ hours over all those rocks and up those hills and on the sand and over the tree roots with a full bladder. And it's not like with other trail runners, with able-bodied people, where you can go and kind of sneak off into the bush a little bit, into the woods, and kind of crouch and pee if you need to. We don't have that option.
I was literally going to say, nature wee in a wheelchair is not.
No, well, that's completely inaccessible.
I have tried it once. I have actually tried it once.
How the hell did you manage? You would have just had to have sat in your own pee.
Trust me, nobody wants to go through the mechanics of how that works. But needless to say, it did not work.
No.
And I stunk for a
oh, what's that smell? Oh, it's Adam coming.
Oh my God. Yeah. But so that was, it was good, but it was great that they had one, but I don't know who the hell designed that accessible toilet.
But we had a few I guess, it's funny. We can laugh about it. It's not, though. Situations.
We can and we do.
We do. That's what we do. However, it's just, if people consulted people with disabilities more, they'd actually have an understanding that just because something reaches government guidelines doesn't actually mean it's fully accessible. So we stayed in a great little resort. It was beautiful. The rooms were beautiful. The pool area was stunning. It was a little slice of heaven, but there were a couple of issues for us, weren't there?
Yeah. So the apartments we were in were amazing. Like little studio apartments, had everything we needed. And great ramp up to them. Accessible bathroom, which is awesome. But the parking, there was no accessible parking.
There wasn't. There was not one single disabled parking bay anywhere on the premises. So there was lots of parking around for most of the studio apartments, but nothing allocated for their wheelchair accessible accommodations.
So the park that was there was like just this gravel sort of patch that you drive onto, and it's about the same size as my car, so trying to get two wheelchairs.
Yeah.
So
for Adam and I to both be able to exit the vehicle, we obviously have to have our wheelchairs right up against the car door opening, because it's not like we can stand up and maneuver into a chair. So both doors have to be fully opened, and that's not possible when you've got a normal size parking spot. It's barely possible in a disabled parking bay, let alone a normal one. And then to also have it as gravel, getting our wheelchairs over gravel is just not easy.
I think what it was, we were a little bit of a victim of the resort being quite old, and before things needed to be accessible.
But they've also here's
and it's a bit of a like. I know where you're going with this.
They claimed they had accessible rooms, which and they kind of were like they had an accessible bathroom and all that kind of stuff. However, they'd put like the shower head in a place where you couldn't reach it. They'd put the shower gel and all the things in a place where you couldn't reach it. There's always seems to be this expectation that if you're a wheelchair user, you're going to be traveling with a carer or traveling with an able-bodied person, which just isn't the case with us, and it isn't the case for a lot of people. So these things really need to be thought about. But if you're offering an accessible room, disabled accommodation, think about all these little things. So you may be covering government guidelines by having handrails in the bathroom and having ramps going into the accommodation. However, what about the rest? How often do we go somewhere and stay and they've put all the cutlery and crockery and glassware and all that up in high cupboards that we can't reach? And here's me trying to pull myself up onto the kitchen counter and dangerously get things down because, using my arms, because it's the only way that we can access anything. And I'm out of us two, the one with the longest body to be able to get myself up
Longest
there.
body, shortest arms.
This is true, which is a really shitty combination. But also with this place, and this is the thing that got to me. Like the other things, they're small things and you can kind of work around and, do whatever. But they had no ramp going into the reception area. There were like 6 steps to go up into it.
No.
And the thing that blew my mind most about that was that they were building a platform, a brand new platform, a huge thing right next door to the reception leading into the reception area. And there was no ramp going into that either. So once again, they're offering disability accommodations. They're claiming accessibility, yet that's not accessible.
Yeah.
As 2 wheelchair users together, if you're a wheelchair user on your own, you cannot access those properties. So, yes, you may be offering things to guidelines, but that is just not.
They were very accommodating.
They were great. They were great help, and the staff there seemed to be well aware of the issues and were like did everything they could to help us. Yeah. But I think what businesses need to do in these kind of situations is make it very, very clear, yes, we offer a wheelchair accessible room. Yeah. However, you can't access so many other things. Those things need to be made clear online, because if we could have got there and not been able to do a fair few things if we didn't have the wheelchair skills we have and weren't able to access the kind of help we could. So there would be people in that situation that had paid a lot of money to stay at that resort and not actually be able to access a lot of things, and that would have been a shame.
I'm now that we're not there, I'm not afraid to say I exercised a little bit of, as my dad would say, ask forgiveness, not permission.
Yes.
Hello, Gary, if you're listening. And there was a car park quite close to where our apartment was, and
that was clearly signposted not for hotel guests.
Not for hotel guests, commercial parking only. But they had a disabled car park.
So we used it.
So we friggin' used it. And I mean, we were out a lot of the time anyway, so it's not like the car was in there all day.
Exactly. And to be honest, we did frequent that establishment as well. So we did. It's not like we were just taking the piss or anything. No, but we were kind of forced into that situation.
Yeah. It's just like they thought we were eating there all day, every day for 3 days.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. But anyway, we appreciate the thought and the effort that goes into these kind of things, but maybe consider consulting with people with lived experience so that you can understand the small things that actually make the biggest difference, because everybody has to do things to guideline anyway. So think about those small things that actually allow people with disabilities to be able to use your product or your services, because that will make a big difference to your business as well.
We love you, Noosa. We want to come back.
We did. I mean, apart from those small things, and they were small things, we had a freaking incredible time.
It's so good. Oh, what was that that lady in that place that we went into?
Well, we had a bit of a laugh about this, I've got to say.
Yeah.
I'm sorry we had a laugh at your expense, but my God.
If you believe this, then I'm not making fun of you, but I kind of am. She said she had, what poisoning was it?
Arsenic.
She got arsenic poisoning poisoning from the Wi-Fi.
And it was the fault of the buildings, and she reported it to police.
And police didn't
and
do
she
anything.
was angry at the police for not doing anything about it.
Yeah, it was through the air conditioning they were pumping
Yes.
arsenic.
Air conditioning and Wi-Fi.
Yes.
Yeah, like, what would you like the police to do about that?
Stop pumping arsenic through the bloody air conditioning and through the Wi-Fi. Of course.
Yeah, of course. Like, and she truly thought that she was dying as a result of this. Like, I get there are situations where people have found those kind of elements in their water supplies and that kind of stuff. I get it, but I think she was probably taking it a little bit too far, and I don't know what she wanted the cops to do about it.
Don't know.
And being angry at the police for that was a little bit.
But
off.
you know what? There's one of those people, at least one of them in every town in Australia.
Yeah, exactly.
I think, so,
Exactly.
Yeah. But no, that was an interesting experience. I quite enjoy having conversations with those people and just seeing how far that it goes.
She was lovely though. She was lovely. She just had very kooky ideas.
Yes.
Let's go with that. I tell you what wasn't the best experience in the world. It made me laugh, but for our moron of the day segment, we're going to talk about another experience.
I'm going to hit the button. Load.
It's the moron of the day.
Your sugars are 6 and you've got 0.775.
Okay, sorry. My insulin pump just alarmed at me to tell me I'm dying, but I think I'll be all right. It's
All of
good.
our listeners and viewers just know what's going on with your diabetes right now.
I know, right? So if I'm like, by the end of it, or maybe I'm like that all the time.
This is nothing new.
No, this is nothing new. Yeah. Anyway, moron of the day.
You can take.
I can take point on this one.
Yeah.
So I am at Woolworths in Twantin, which is the little suburb outside Noosa, where in the hinterland, where we were doing the ultra trail.
Yeah.
And we'd got there on the Thursday, and in the morning we were like, okay, we're going to pop to Woolworths, which is the grocery supermarket, to go and get a few staples to last the trip.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. This is generally what we do every time we have a trip and we have an apartment. We do a little bit of cooking and make lunch for ourselves because it keeps costs down. Anyway, I'm there with my little trolley, getting bread and a few other bits and pieces, and this young guy, I'd say he was probably sort of early to mid-30s at the very, very most. He's come up to me and he's gone, "Oh my God, you're so inspiring." I'm like, oh my God, he must know about the ultra trail that we're about to embark on. I mean, I don't like being called inspiring just because we're in wheelchairs and do shit. But on this occasion, I was like, okay, cool. This is a pretty cool event, and anyone with athletic interest would think that wheelchair users in their day chairs going in and doing a trail event is a pretty cool thing. That's it is. It was a world first, and we're pretty proud of that. And we're serious athletes, and I was thinking,
you are.
Yeah, I was thinking this is cool. We're being seen as cool for attempting this new thing, and he's being inclusive.
Yep.
And then he's followed on by saying, and this just blows my mind. He's gone, you're out doing your shopping all by yourself. Go you. I'm just like, I've just looked at him and gone, you must be so proud too, buddy. Well done. Like, oh my God, seriously, what fucking century are we in that people in wheelchairs are seen as inspiring just for doing day-to-day shit that we have to do to get through life just like anybody else? I mean, here's me thinking, it's because he's seen us on the news, because of the work we're doing at Invincible, because of our podcast, because of the many numerous really cool projects we've got on the go.
But because you were getting...
Because I was
You were-
getting some shopping myself.
You were getting some sugar-free cordial off the shelf.
Yes.
Holy shit, you're amazing.
I know, right? So fucking inspiring because I just managed to do my own fucking shopping.
You know,
Go me.
it's a shame that it was it was cool that it happened to you because we get to talk about it. But in a way, I'm kind of like, I wish you'd have said it to me because I would have been like, see this body doesn't go without food.
Yeah.
Have a look.
But we get shit like that from older people constantly.
Yeah, we do.
And that's the era they've grown up in,
Yeah.
and thankfully things have changed. But I really wouldn't have expected something like that to come from somebody in their 30s, younger than me.
Yeah.
It goes to show that we have still got a really, really long way to go
Yeah.
before people with disabilities are just accepted as normal people, the
Yeah.
same as everybody else, that still have to do their shopping, that still, that want to lead life in the exact same way that anybody else does, and shouldn't just be seen as inspirational for just doing shit, like for just
Exactly.
getting out of bed in the morning. We
Yes.
all have to do that at some point. And yes, there are people with disabilities that are unable to do those things for themselves. But once again, finding your way of adapting, your way of doing these things, it's not inspiring. It's just fucking life.
Yeah.
That's not inspiring. It's just living life and adapting to your situation. There are far more people in this world that are doing far more amazing things than just fucking shopping.
I agree. We're kind of talking about this similar in social media takedown. So should we get on to that?
Yep, let's
We
do
good?
it.
Are you dying?
I'm potentially dying, so I need to do a blood sugar test. I'm sorry.
Well, I'm going to hit the button.
I've just gone a bit dizzy.
Social media
Okay.
Okay, that was.
Oh, well, I'll talk while you test.
Can you remember what you're talking about?
Yeah, we're talking about. So, man, we had such a good time. We had
did.
such a good time in Noosa. I love it. I love Noosa. I love the people, except for that lady we were talking about before in the arsenic or whatever it was. Yeah, she was a little bit spacey, but what there's, like you was just saying in the last segment, there's still so much. Oh wow, 3.8.
So I am dying. Awesome.
You are dying.
All right. Continue on. I'll try and do what I can.
Gonna try and do what you can. Okay, good job. Yeah, there was a lot of what we want out of what we did and what we want out of the out of what we did at Noosa and that sort of thing is we want to be seen as legitimate athletes.
Yes, because
When-
we are. We
because we are
work
legitimate
just as
athletes.
hard. We train just as hard. We're going out and we're tackling the same challenges, the same
Yeah.
distances, the same everything as any other athlete.
Yeah,
we
exactly.
we may have to adapt with the equipment we use, but it's the same. It's
Yes.
essentially the same. It's not some kind of inspirational go you kind
Yeah.
of thing. We are working our asses off in the same way as anybody else.
And we're so grateful to have the opportunity to show what we can do to the rest of the world through Noosa Ultra Trail and those things that we did. But through that, not through the people that ran it themselves and wanted, but there was a whole boatload of
whole lot of people posting things about us and
Yeah.
on socials it made me cry as they crossed the finish line. Go them. Those two little cripples, they did it. They managed to do it.
and one of them didn't even have any
Legs.
legs.
Oh my goodness. The whole inspiration porn thing, the whole, oh my God, you're super fucking inspiring and all that kind of stuff. The problem is if they were saying these things purely because they see us as inspiring as athletes,
Yeah,
that's not what they're seeing. They're seeing the wheelchairs
yeah.
and they're seeing the disability, and they're talking about wanting to cry because the two little cripples managed to do it. It's patronizing is what it is. It's unconscious bias is what it is. It's seeing people as wheelchairs as being different and singling us out because for that reason. Now, if you think that our athletic achievements and the things we're doing are inspiring and motivating to you, fantastic. fantastic. That's a different issue. But
Yeah.
if you're getting all teary-eyed purely because those people with disabilities manage to do something that everybody else can do,
Yeah.
then you're looking at it in the wrong way.
Sure. I mean, sure. It was what we did was
It was pretty fucking cool.
It was fucking cool, and there's a lot of people with disabilities that wouldn't probably attempt that.
Wouldn't attempt it and wouldn't be able to tackle it.
But
But that's the great thing about what we did do is the visibility it
Yeah.
brings, and the people within our own community that we
Mm.
can show actually there is a way of doing it, and you can't be something that you can't see.
Yeah, exactly.
So
You can't
for
see
us,
it, you can't be it.
For us, exactly. So for us, it's about demonstrating to everyone, including people with our own within our own community, that there is a way of doing this stuff
Yeah.
with the right tools and the right supports,
100%.
and the right people behind you helping you to put this kind of event together, which
Yes.
is really, really important.
Yeah.
That has to be in place.
Yeah.
So yes, we want to be inspiring and motivating in that way, but that's so different to people getting teary-eyed, and
Yeah.
you can hear the inspirational music in the background.
I could hear Chariots of Fire going.
Yes, yeah, and people using. I tell you what annoys me is the whole. Well, if you can do it, then I should be able to do it.
Mm.
That's bullshit.
No.
Like everybody's abilities are different, everybody's passions are different, and if you're using us as a way to motivate yourself because you see us as just as little wheelchair users, not that shouldn't be able to do these things,
Yeah.
then you're looking at things in the wrong way. However, if you're using it as inspiration because somebody else has taken on that challenge and adapted to their situation, and you want to use that as inspiration to help you to move through a challenging time yourself, then more fucking power to you.
Hell yeah.
There's a very fine line between the two, but I think that really very much needs to be understood, because it becomes patronizing when someone's saying to you and posting all over your socials feed, I used you as inspiration to get through it, because if you can do it, then I can do it. But they're an able-bodied person and they're not. They're just seeing themselves as they should be able to do it, and you shouldn't because you're a wheelchair user. And that I find gets to me a little bit.
Yeah. And I mean, there was people doing 100 Ks.
Like, use those guys as inspiration, because
100
fuck
fucking
me,
kilometers.
that I had those, especially the women that I was interviewed with for the Athletes Power panel. Sorry, I'm sorry if I'm tripping over my words a bit. Low blood sugars will do and concussion will do that to you. But those women doing the 100K event that I was interviewed with, and they're talking about pissing blood because they've been pushed their bodies
that much.
They run like 240-kilometer races. Can you imagine running that far? That's like from here
I definitely
all the way
can't
up
imagine
to Noosa.
running that far.
No, I can't imagine it either. Can't imagine you running anywhere. But yeah, it's just and their kidneys shutting down, and that just blows my mind.
I have nothing but respect for those guys. Nothing. I think you've got to have a little bit of a screw loose there, a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Are you looking for something to stop you from dying?
No, well, yes, kind of, but we need to move on to the next segment. So anyway, our whole point with that is I've completely forgotten. What was our point with that? What were we talking about? Hypo brain.
It was talking about the people doing the 100 and
use them for inspiration, because those are the guys that you really need to think are incredibly resilient and doing amazing things.
Yeah.
Anyway, one more thing about Noosa.
Yes.
The kindness of everyone. The kindness virus. The kindness virus.
I just looked at the clock and thought, oh shit, I've got to pick up my kid.
Yeah, you got to pick. That's why I just said we need to move on.
Yeah.
Kindness virus. What were we talking about for this one?
We were talking about the amazing community of trail runners that we
got
to hang out with and be part of, and
we've made some great friends.
We really have. Like,
what an
there's
awesome community,
Yeah.
and it's the same with the road racing community. I think when you take part in marathons, but I think it's even more so in ultra trails because it's still such a niche sport, and very, very much upcoming. And we've just had the opportunity to meet some wonderful people that that we truly identified with, and
great people, and we've had we had some amazing support. You know, we were fortunate enough. James Tobin
from Channel 7.
We
Prime
got,
time breakfast show over here.
we had a really good chat with the amazing chef Matt Galinsky.
Yes, and what an incredible background story he's got.
Amazing. If you don't know about Matt Galinsky, look him up. Check out his story.
Yeah.
Here's one incredible dude.
Yes.
Who's just doing his thing
and been through a lot in his life. Yes, and now uses running as his release, I guess. And much, and I think a lot of people who take on endurance challenges like that have that kind of adversarial background, that they've been through a lot and use that as their way of getting through things. There's a lot of very resilient people around, but like so many people coming up, introducing themselves, chatting to us, wanting to know about what we do as athletes, that really get that it is about the athletics and not about the whole inspiration thing, that we're just doing exactly whatever every other athlete out there does. And some wonderful businesses, just that many people that really wanted to make an effort to come and meet us and talk to us about what we do, which is fantastic.
Tailwind Nutrition, great bunch of people and very interested in what we were doing. And,
they've got some great products. So guys, if you're a runner, go out and look their products up, because you really enjoyed them, didn't
I
you?
did really enjoy them. So and I grabbed a bit of the stuff while I was there, so I will continue to use it and hopefully get my hands on some more at some point. So
yes, if you're an athlete, try Body Science stuff. Their stuff is great. I would.
Is this what we're going to do now? I'll talk about Tailwind and you'll talk about BSC.
Anyway, they're athlete approved, the BSC stuff. So
cool.
This is why I recommend them. But yes, anyway, thank you to everyone that helped us and wanted to get to know us on the weekend. And you all, excuse me, you all know who you are. And to the female athletes that made the effort to come and chat to us and find out what we're doing in sport. And what we do with the business, thank you as well, because we need the support of these guys to be able to do what we do and
100%.
Continue growing the business.
I just and it was such a feeling of camaraderie, and it wasn't an us and them as you do find in a lot of these sort of it was like they were genuine about what we were doing. And anyway, we're gonna
have to go because I feel like I'm dying.
Well, please don't. That would be bad.
I'll try not to.
All right. Cool.
Anyway, that's a wrap, guys. If you enjoyed what you saw today, don't forget to like and subscribe.
Follow us on socials.
Absolutely. You know where we are, and we will catch you next time.
Peace.
Bye. Well, that's a wrap for this week's episode of Two Cripples, One Pair of Legs. As always, we'd like to thank our studio guests for joining us, and of course to the legends at Podfire for making all of this come to life. If you like what you've heard, or even if we've offended the shit out of you, but you still want to hear more, make sure you hit the subscribe button and also check out our Insta page, twocrips.onepairoflegs, and you'll be the first to know when a new episode drops.